Good morning. This video will be on what I call the real quantum financial system. There have been several quantum financial systems discussed. One of them was stated that it transcended the internet. We won't go there, but I heard it, at least, or I imagined I heard it. This is my version of the quantum financial system. And who am I? I go call myself Future Man. Why? On Hulu, there's a series I've yet to fully watch. A janitor is selected for he's a janitor by trade. He's selected to save the world based on his video game prowess. I was sitting at home playing video games when I got a phone call from my late wife, but that's for the next video when I discuss the metaphysics, which is my favorite topic. So when I was working in MIT Research Extension, MITRE, there was the gentleman around me. I had a master's of science in information technology from a relatively unknown university. And there were other gentlemen that had PhDs in nuclear physics. And at the time, quantum physics was not part of the discussion. But as we know, quantum physics is the latest hot thing, interspersed with AI, merge the two, quantum AI. I'm not an expert in anything. I'm a big picture systemic, and that's Kiki the kitty in the background. Sorry about that. Wanting attention. I'm not an expert in anything. It's lucky for me, it's the quantum financial system isn't about me. It's about fundamentals. What does the world have to use in order to craft our world? Money is data. Time is money. Timekeeper on the left-hand side of the slide. That's a video game that'll be released in September. That's the main antagonist. You can read upper right-hand corner. My understanding is a lot of the programmers for cryptocurrency came from the video game industry. It's all related. It's all connected. I'm a big picture systemic guy. I'm not an expert in anything, and I try to relate snippets or research from a wide array of activity and try to make it coherent. The person who made the world work, as far as the internet, of course, was Tesla, arguably. So Tesla said, all is nature, all is waveform motion. He also had a quote, everywhere there's energy spinning. Then lower left-hand side, the Supreme Court, in my opinion, backed Tesla up indirectly or directly in their ruling about what's patentable and what's not. Abstract ideas are not patentable, according to the Supreme Court. So I am endeavoring to focus on what you actually see in an oscilloscope, a network general sniffer, if you will, oscilloscope, and you see waves. That's you've always, seen waves. Because Tesla was right. So if you're not in the Tesla camp, you're in the wrong video. If you are in the Tesla camp, then you're in the right video. I'm right there wiggling the mouse. Main character is Nobel Prize winning economist Milton Friedman, who proposed the K% rule that basically suggested that you take GDP pacing items, total them, come up with an average. And as the GDP goes up, the money supply goes up. As the GDP, amount of real world assets are traded, goes down, money supply goes down in order to regulate the value of, like, I guess, the M2 money supply. Not a financial expert, not an expert on the financial reserve, that premises that Milton Friedman knew more than the rest of us did, as did Tesla. Middle left side is Admiral Grace Harper, the Amazing Grace. She converted computing, or advanced it from computers, mainframes as calculators, to what we have today: processing, syntax, workflow. I attribute ops code brevity codes, which are now called tokens, to the Admiral Amazing Grace. Upper middle, these are my actual graphics submitted to the United States Patent and Trademark Office, and it basically it shows waveforms, and also shows harvesting data, over a wide area with a GPS system. And Kitty, you're raining on my parade here. Now she's headbutting me. Here's Tesla describing the world according to Tesla, that everything is waveform based, waveform motion, and basically saying, until we understand this truism, this truth. He also, getting into the metaphysical part, he said, well, everything is energy, and the divine is energetic form. But hey, we're getting into the next discussion again. So moving on. Here's I'm not sure who came up with the Hopf vibration, the Bloch sphere and the Hopf vibration, but in my opinion, it backs up Tesla's quote, everywhere there's energy spinning. And here's a quote: quantum physics says, as all you really are seeing is energy waves, or instead of a particle, what you might be seeing is this. Now, my purpose isn't to sort out the whole particle wave duality thing. My thing is Tesla's thing. Well, if you have waves to work for, waves are a certainty, whereas particles, they may be in a certain place in a certain time, and you may spot them with an electron microscope in an area that's cooled with liquid hydrogen or liquid helium. Well, good luck synchronizing that, scaling that, and synchronizing that across time zones, elevations, yada, yada. So why not just go with the waveforms? And why do we even need to, what's the end game? What's the purpose? So in my opinion, relatively few number of families led by oligarchs and kiddies, who's behind my laptop at the moment, being a pain in the butt. They own and control everything. So the only leverage you have, the only fulcrum, Archimedes said, give me a fulcrum and a lever long enough and I'll move the world. The only fulcrum that really exists among the oligarch is percentage of the take per second, per millisecond, per whatever metric you achieve through fiber optics, what have you. The Department of Defense's battlefield digitization, network-enabled operations, was all about sending the sync delta. What changed since last time? Because you can't send the same form over and over again, nor would you want to. So the research at the effort at the time was to send sync deltas from one reporting period to the other reporting to peer to conserve bandwidth and deliver the daily sit rep. Could be daily, could be quarterly, could be minute to minute. You get the idea. This briefing, no way I can explain all the ins and outs of battlefield digitization. There is percentage of the take. Again, ultimately, money will have to be pegged to something. A monetary unit will have to be pegged to something of value. Enter commodities. Thomas Edison suggested a monetary option in 1922 that was based on crops. So 2025, why not base it on the whole spectrum? And you see oil and gas as part of the mix. Metals, obviously, let's state the obvious. In transacting, and the metrics and the meters would be based on waveforms. Sound waves have been proposed. Fermilab, my understanding, is working with a half a dozen other research institutions, use of sound waves to communicate amongst quantum computing systems. So this is about interoperability, synchronization, stochastic harmonization. It doesn't say whether, the China's or Google's quantum chips, quantum systems are which are best. It just says the attempt is to say, well, if you're going to arrive at a one world anything anytime soon, then it's probably going to be by the waveform, not particles. And here's where I'll just be the guy that states the obvious. Always gets me in trouble, but hey, I'm in so much trouble now that I can't get into any more trouble. So hey, why not? The analogy in how the world, not just the United States, creates money is we hit a keyboard. Yeah, the Fed would say it's a little bit more complicated than that, but hey, $37 trillion with 21 trillion in addition missing from government unfunded requirements. It's said that there's more money just sloshing around in the buckets, if you will, than there is stuff to buy. So hence inflation. So that suggests that we need to revisit the monetary unit, in my humble opinion. Here, upper left-hand corner, sound waves enable different type of quantum system tech to communicate, interoperate. Systems sync or they don't sync. If you ever worked in a computer lab, I've worked in several. It's a time sync thing plus permission thing. Do you have the right passphrase, passphrases? What you have to work with is epoch time cycles and the syntax, or the alphanumeric brevity codes, which are now called tokens in the blockchain world. Blockchain doesn't exist, by the way. It's a meme. It's a metaphor. Lower right-hand corner is my thesis. All things net of money are formed using time epoch cycles to process, parse, syntax as instructions. Qubit, I don't think exists. I think it's counterproductive, as somebody imagines a different way to subdivide a sphere. There's a 1,000-fold increase in computing speed. It'd be nice if the qubit actually existed. Here's another slide examining the qubit and my patent application graphics on the left, waveforms. In the computing world, you have broadcasts to everybody, unicast or peer-to-peer, or anycast, which is a publish subscribe. and you have time epochs created by the wave oscillation that are estimated, digitized to accomplish that. So I'm not going to go into, there's no way I have time to go into each and everything. I'm just introducing some of the slides. Big picture is to achieve uh, shared resources transactions across the world's time zones. Satellites, yeah, they provide a common timing pulse, but satellites don't speak to uh, the event heartbeat message bus, as it's called. Uh, each blockchain system is tending to do its own thing with its own syntax. I'm not going to arrive at a one world anything anytime soon. With that, it said, Erlang is based on time equations, so it's one of my favorites. Throw in proximity beacons, so you helpful in identifying price point with, say, a barrel of barley, oats, wheat, what have you, at a certain place in a certain time in order to arrive at a common price, statistical mean value of that item. So it can be rolled up into a stat mean value index, which to base a unit of value, a currency. That's what I propose for the FedCoin WorldCoin. I'm not the first by any means. Thomas Edison in 22, um, Milton Friedman, upper middle, his K% rule talks about commodities. Belgium economist Bernard Littard, the French money of peace in 1930 something. I have those in my slides somewhere. This shows the big picture to look at across time zones. The World Game Great Redesign, as not not my words, that's the World Economic Forum. Herr Klaus Schwab talked about the Great Reset, then softened it to the Great Redesign. Again, I think sound waves or light waves, quantum random number beacon in Boulder, Colorado, built by the Department of Commerce. I have a slide somewhere. Uses multiple light, laser light um, at different different colors of light. I'll get it out there one of these days. Different colors of light. I don't fully understand what they do, but it sounds useful because its purpose at the end of the day is so one party cannot say, well, I wasn't involved with attraction with another party or parties. Oops. Epochs, syntax. Okay, I'm back. Let's get into... I'm back. Sorry about the break. I had to take care of the cat, me, it's set. I'll re-record this later. The Firefly heartbeat algorithm. Huge. Dreamt up by the University of Bologna, University of Hungary. Which university in Hungary? Not sure. China picked up on it, came up with their own version. Excuse me. The heartbeat algorithm has a universal heartbeat message bus. And the cat, relentless this morning, playing the in-out game. Universal heartbeat message bus, plus it's, if you imagine how fireflies, you see a field of fireflies, a certain species strives to sync. The males strive to sync as they attempt to attract a female's attention. It's a stochastic harmonization mechanism. How I came to know of that is discuss that during the next metaphysical part of this. Trade reference currency, Belgium economist Bernard Littard, he was encouraged to stop evolving this concept in the 90s, as I understand, find something else better to do. But I think it's time to revisit the trade reference currency, especially in context with tariffs in 2025 and need to evaluate currency based on other than paper, which is now virtual paper. Bonds, nobody actually trades the physical paper copy of a bond. It's just hit a keyboard, generate a number, boom. Here's a bond, and this is what we say it's worth and going to be worth in X amount of time. That system is not healthy. Why? Well, it just isn't. Again, I'm not an expert in anything. It's just, hey, I'm just trying to state the obvious. Like, somebody has to be me. So this is a little bit about big data. This is jumped a slide. Here's Milton Friedman's K% rule with Firefly heartbeat algorithm, could establish algorithmic regulation based on establishing a universal event bus and universal message mechanism, which is based on how the internet works, quite frankly. Everybody's message product is workflow over IP. This is no different. And what are we tracking? We're tracking GDP pacing items in order to establish a value unit to value a global currency and arrive at common values for the one world system. Values of what? GDP pacing items. Here's part of the big picture, a lot to unpack here. Has to do with GPS, the heartbeat algorithm as a universal data event bus sampling from epoch time cycle to epoch time cycle. Lower right-hand corner, we could unpack foam spatial protocol. Again, what my work is, it's the work about other people's work, OPW. I made next slide, I made a suggestion to the World Economic Forum in Gaithersburg, Maryland, 15 years ago about how to establish a high-frequency trade circuit breaker. They, of course, ignored it. It's based everything, the 108 heartbeat message, every system uses it. You send a start-stop time-to-live command in the unused epoch time cycles of a heartbeat message. Originally, back in the day, the TCP/IP stack, there was epoch time cycles reserved for operations or sending data yet unknown. Well, this is what those unused epoch time cycles could be used for. Use sound waves to sync the systems so France's equipment can go their stock exchange equipment can go back to France, doable, or the French can just keep operating their equipment in London ad infinitum until who knows. I'm just an observer. Tesla, this is energy and data are inseparable. You have to have electromagnetic energy to power the circuit, obviously. Then you have the oscillations of the waveforms, which represent the ones and zeros, which represent the data, stating the obvious. And we have a process in the lower left-hand corner where you track IDs and nodes, events by node, epoch, events, interval by event or interval, hop by hop counts, hop by hop detection. It's just how the internet works. It's a bit more advanced. This is a patent application that was abandoned, Tesla-based, in my opinion, based on the longitudinal waves, scalar waves. There's another name for them. I think that equates to my Paul Revere linear sequential meme, where you would metric and meter hop by hop based on distances and based on time, which is calculated through the waveforms, height and frequency, metric and meter thing. Do I have two slides here that they're the same? Yeah, I guess I do. Don't mind me. Slightly different. Nassim Harriman, he's referred to as the new Einstein. Some of his observations, suggestions, helpful to the cause. This is a slide on top, just shows waveforms, a description of waveforms, and on bottom it shows the main piece parts, entries of my patent application, supportive of established one world time zone, stochastically harmonized, synchronized event transactions across time zones using various time equations, Fisher information flux flows, also a useful tool. Getting long in the tooth. I'm going to try to wrap this up. More about energy waves. I have two main entries into my patent applications. One is the Paul Revere linear sequential, shown up in the upper left hand corner right there. I also have the water drop and pond meme. How I arrived at those, also that comes from the next discussion on metaphysics. Since everything's time, space, and waveform related, don't have time to go into it. How to implement would be the acoustic phonon, upper left-hand corner, waveforms, and sampling across waveforms across time. On the left is the acoustic phonon. On the right is major entries in my patent application 13573.002, the heartbeat and cycle time space meter. Here we jump to the Trump family, heavily into crypto. At the same time they were announcing Bitcoin to 1 million, Google is announcing their quantum chip that could obviate that could um, use its processing power and speed to reverse the encryption and make Bitcoin transactions appear in the open, unencrypt the encryption, if you will. So instead of having these patent wars over speed ad infinitum, we need to establish a standard speed for everybody to play nice in the sandbox. And if you want to use your Google quantum chip to solve whatever problem you're solving, DNA solutions to examining the DNA to solve medical issues or whatever it is, then fine. You do that in your own time, in your own space, but everybody collectively agrees to well, it's like a highway speed limit, if you will. Robert's Rules of Order using waveforms, epoch time cycle, syntax, and waveforms. The Department of Defense has spent decades in sorting all that out, so why not reuse the research? Well, partly I think it's because a shared common picture flies in is counter to the compartmentalization that the Intel folks like to use, but I digress and I get political. Bad me. And was that the last slide? Apparently so. Yes, that was. This is the quantum random number beacon. It has existed for pushing 2 decades out in Boulder, Colorado. And thank you for suffering through this if you're still here, if I am even recording.